I think we're live now.
Yeah.
Yeah, we are live.
Let's start. Hello, viewers. Welcome to another episode of Let's Talk Science. This episode is supported by Science for Society, Indian Humanists, Babu Gogineni Humanists, and Rationalists Arena. Today we have a very special guest who wants to share his experiences and opinions on astronomy and space science in particular. Before introducing him, let me welcome my other co-panel members, co-hosts. I have here Sharath Teja Somina, science popularizer and member of Science for Society and BG Group. Welcome, Sharath Garu. And I also have here our young amateur astronomer Teja Begari, Master Teja Begari. Welcome, Teja.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, I also welcome Amol Mane, who is an IT professional and amateur astronomer. He is originally from Mumbai, and he is the co-founder of Dubai Amateur Astronomy Group and astrophotographer. He is also joining us from Sydney, Australia now. Welcome, Amol.
It's been an absolute sort of pleasure to me to join this call. Thank you.
Yeah. Also, we have on the panel Mr. Arjun Nidigallu. He is also from Sydney, Australia. He is also our member in Science for Society and VG Group. Welcome, Arjun.
Thank you, Prasada. It's my pleasure to be here. Thank you.
And now our very special guest for today's episode is Mr. Arvind Paranjpye. So very rarely people get a chance to actually work in their area of who can make their hobby a career. So we have an excellent person here today with us who turned his hobby into a career in astronomy and also has been a source of inspiration for amateurs and students. He has completed his master's from Pune University and joined Indian Institute of Astrophysics, worked at University Center for Astronomy and Astrophysics, and he's an honorary member of the Astronomical Society of India. So currently he is serving as Director, Nehru Planetarium of Nehru Center, Mumbai. Welcome, Arvind.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. So his research involves, sky watching and amateur photography, and actually I think he's an amateur astronomer since his college days, and he's an expert. Even I think before this digital photography came, expert in various techniques in astronomical photography, having photographed many celestial events over the last 40 years. And he is also science popularizer, and apart from his own blogs, he also regularly contributes to India's leading newspapers and periodicals. So welcome aboard again, Arvindji.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, today, before going, I would want Teja to start the conversation because I think he has to run to another program as well. So Teja, the screen, you can go ahead and start the discussion with Arvindji.
Well, thank you, sir. Thank you very much. It's an absolute pleasure. So just getting started with my first question. It is, why are planetariums important? Not just because you're the director for the planetarium, but also planetariums are of interest to many amateur astronomers and many students. So why is it important for us to preserve planetariums, and why is it important for us to learn about planetariums, and why are planetariums important?
You see, the planetarium started, the very basic planetarium, if you want to say it, then I think it was Archimedes or someone who actually made some model which would help him to predict the eclipses and positions of planets, etc. That was way back. Then there were some people who made simulation. The sky is simulated inside a dome, and positions of stars and planets were given. And it was sort of teaching people how to identify different stars and constellations. So it was from that angle first. Then after the Second World War, the real interest in planetarium started, and it started with in Germany, and they made these planetariums with the technology that was very advanced at that time, and it was a pinhole technology where on a globe or something, the points were made, pinholes were made, and then stars were imaged. Later on, in America, Spitz came into picture. They made very low-cost planetarium, and planetariums became famous, particularly when the space race started. As a space race, when it started, people got attracted to planetariums. So the space race gave a lot of attention to astronomy. So prior to that, yes, people had this astronomy in their lives, but mostly it was among amateur astronomers, not so much in the public domain. But with the space age coming in, space race starting, people got very much interested in astronomy, and people wanted to know, as I see on background of your the curtain with the satellites and all that of Mark, right? So people got interested in it. But then planetarium also started playing a role of edutainment. That is when people got interested in astronomy. So they started, planetarium started teaching astronomy, teaching science actually through astronomy. And then around 85 or so, the digital revolution came, and digital revolution brought the digital planetarium, and that changed a lot. That changed enormously, because your ability to present any scientific field to the people became absolutely possible, and it gives you kind of an immersive feeling. So, as I was telling, the planetarium, the name, it is a house where you show planets. However, today what we have is a dome-like shape where you can simulate almost anything. Now, in the digital world, we can simulate the architecture. That is that you make a building and people can walk through that experience. You can go inside the body. So planetarium started playing roles of edutainment, that is education and entertainment simultaneously. So that's why the planetariums are becoming day by day more interesting, more relevant to the society. And the third thing that happened in the planetarium technology is that because the digital planetarium came in, okay, now we have a unidirectional projection. That is, in earlier days, what used to happen is people used to sit in a circle and the sky is simulated. But with a digital thing now, all of them can look in the same direction. So it sort of became a very large amphitheater. And then you see the fantastic amount of images and stories coming out, which teaches science, animal science, animal kingdom, you say, mountaineering. So all this became very relevant in the modern world, and importance of planetarium came in from there.
That seems absolutely amazing.
Yeah, it is.
So my second question is, it's precisely about the Nehru Planetarium. So what are the other activities rather than promoting astronomy, showing the planet show in the dome-shaped hall? What are the other activities held by the Nehru Planetarium other than this, and which people are not aware of but should know?
Yeah, that's I would like to speak about it. See, Nehru Planetarium, right from the inception, I mean, right from the beginning, carried out other than planetarium many related activities. See, one of the activity has been telescope making. Now, planetarium also, something which I have forgotten in the my earlier reply, is that planetarium also became a seat for amateur astronomers in those particular town. Every town, whichever has a planetarium, the planetarium people gave a small place or some place to amateur astronomers, where amateur astronomers could come and meet together, discuss astronomy, make telescopes, make instruments. So Nehru Planetarium also started making activities like that. The people would come and make telescopes and meet, discuss astronomical topics, and then planetarium invited different people from different fields of science, not very much different, but mostly astronomy, scientists who are working in different branches of astronomy, and they could come and give a public lecture. And then all people would gather in a lecture hall where people would listen to some professor, ask the questions. Then planetarium also carried out a series of activities. For example, way back about 15, 20 years or so ago, there was one Professor Padmanabhan who came and delivered series of lectures on black holes. Then in India, we have a Professor Narlikar came and gave a series of lectures. So people would interact. So that planetarium became some kind of a, no, I wouldn't say adult education, but citizen science forum, where the science is the only astronomy part of it. So people would come discuss these topics. And then planetarium also provided them with the telescopes to go and do observations, or sky map when they were not, when sky map were generally not available. They would help amateur astronomers to go outside the city to observe. I don't know, Amol is here, how much he was involved in planetarium, I'm not sure. But much before your time, people used to go to a place called Wangni and observe the sky. Now they have to go near, a little far away. These activities were carried out. Now in today's world, now another thing, as I said, that the digital technology has come. So what we can do today is that we can simultaneously what we call the dome casting. So if I'm showing giving a show here, it can be simultaneously dome casted in any other planetarium which has a similar system. So these are the activities we conduct. And another activity which we conduct, which was stopped for a while, but now we are restarting it, is that with the Mumbai University, we are starting what is called the planning to start, that is extramural course in astronomy and astrophysics. Now this extramural course is for general public. Anyone who is interested in astronomy can come. This is a very well defined course, and it's about some 10-month long course, means about 45 lectures would be delivered, where people would be made aware of astronomical observations, so various branches, right from the what we call the positional astronomy, that is the understanding positions of stars in the sky, how these stars behave. From there to history of astronomy, then we also have solar system, how star evolve, variable stars, as you are member of AAVSO, so variable star observations, binary stars, black holes, everything. So it's a public course which will be conducted, and this course is a certificate course. That is, towards the end of the course, conduct examination, and examination would be theoretical as well as observational, and based on that, they would be graded, given certificates. So these are the current activities which we have. Another activity very similar to course activity with the St. Xavier College in Mumbai. They have a astronomy astrophysics MSc. So for them, certain observational exercises would be carried out at the Nehru Planetarium. So this is the present status of activities other than the planetarium show.
That seems very interesting, sir. I should get registered for the course then.
I have not talked to them, but I think let us see, after a pandemic break, we are restarting it. But maybe for the next year, I would maybe from next year onwards, I will request them to go online for these courses. Ask people to register online, which should be possible for us to do.
That's quite interesting. Thank you very much, sir.
Welcome. Yeah.
Thank you, Teja, for your interesting question.
Amol want to say something.
Sir, just want to add to this. In Mumbai, I was part of the Khagol Mandal, Amateur Astronomers Club. And yes, as sir said, we used to go out to Wangni. So this was a farm some distance from Mumbai, and especially I remember having a stargazing trip for Comet Yakutaki and Hale Bob. And then I remember fondly buying my first telescope at the Nehru Planetarium. So the planetarium was sort of the hub of all astronomical activities.
Very rightly said. Very rightly said.
Yeah, I think Amol has a very interesting story, sir. I think he has been a visitor for your planetarium as well in Mumbai, and he also regularly goes out for stargazing and taking photographs of the galaxies, etc. Because we still have um, luxury of seeing
Dark.
a clear night without any light pollution here, a
I know.
little outside Sydney. And personally as well, like when I was studying, I used to go to Birla Planetarium that is in Hyderabad, and a lot of good memories. So planetariums have definitely contributed a lot in engaging students and young amateur astronomers in understanding science and astronomy in particular. So with that, yeah, Amol, you can go ahead and share your experiences with planetariums and astronomy, and ask any questions, post any questions to Arvind ji.
Thank you, Prasad. You mentioned about the Birla Planetarium in Hyderabad. I was part of the AHA group in Hyderabad as well. In fact, the last time I met Mr. Arvind sir was in Pune in 2003, where I think I was leading the team from the Hyderabad Amateur Astronomers Club, and then we went to GMRT as well. Sort of very fond memories there.
It's a real good memory.
Right. One of the things I think Amateur Astronomers Club, along with Planetarium, is to popularize science and bring astronomy to the masses, right? So I was wondering, sir, because we've been seeing there's always been this fight between pseudoscience or miscommunication among the general public, and then when you approach the Planetarium or Amateur Astronomers group, there's a bit of this awareness that we need to bring up to the general public. With the advent of the internet being so easily available and social media, you would expect that there'll be more information, but it turns out, it seems that there's more of misinformation as well. And what you would consider as fringe groups, the moon landing conspiracy, seems to have become expanded and become more visible now with the flat earth conspiracy and whatnot. So is it just, do you think these are just fringe groups, or is it that the social media is proving a platform for them to give a voice? I'm just trying to see, how do you balance this? How do you address this misinformation flood that comes in, and especially when the public isn't aware of what is genuine news and what is actually the scientific fact? I was just wondering, how do you address that this challenge?
Yeah, I understand, and this is a very serious question. And okay, I'll give you the on this regard, I'll give you the story of Aesop. Okay, there was this hunter who has gone in the jungle to chase rabbits, and he has a very powerful dog. And then hunter tells the dog to chase a rabbit, and rabbit runs and runs and runs, and finally he escapes. Okay, then hunter says to his dog that, look, that is a small body, small animal, and he beats you. So the dog says that, sir, he was running for his life, and I was running for your enjoyment or food. I think our case is something like that. See, our happiness if doing astronomy. See, most of us who are in astronomy or popularization of science come little later, but astronomy, either scientists or amateur astronomers, our main interest lies in watching the stars, understanding astronomy. For us, the fighting pseudoscience come later. So what happens is that those who are in pseudoscience, they run very fast, they run very hard, okay, and therefore they beat us all the time. What you need is someone who is regularly, whose passion is to beat them. That is one. Second thing is that we have a mixture of these things. So when you say that pseudoscience, you do this or you do that. Say, I'll give you one example. That that people go on yatra from one place to another. Okay, now this is their choice, so we should leave it to them to decide what they would like to do. What I feel important is that if we educate people, I don't know whether you heard of this name, one Professor Shyam Tandon. He was at Ayuka. He was from PIFR. He made once a wonderful statement. He said that you light a lamp. The astrology and pseudoscience is the darkness. So you light a lamp of knowledge, darkness will automatically go away. You don't have to fight darkness. Okay. So this is what, so we'll have to actually decide exactly what we would like to, or how we would like to fight, and what we would like to fight. There are some places fight is totally futile. Yatra, etc. Now in Maharashtra, there is this Pandharpur Yatra where people walk for 5-10 days or something. They go without, they go barefoot. And I think there is no point in criticizing them, because once you are not focused in which direction you're going, once you start criticizing, people will come back with a counter argument, and it just remains on one side. I think what is important is to tell them that, look, okay, you're good, you are walking and you're doing, that's fine. But this is not correct. For example, yesterday when we were talking, that burying child inside the ground during the total solar eclipse, thinking that this is, so come out with a scientific explanation. Or otherwise, you also know that during the solar eclipse, people say there is a stout wooden bar, that Oakley, that the instrument where you pound on the food grains to make powder. So they say that it stands vertical. Show them that every new moon, every full moon time it starts, because after all, angle between the moon and the sun never increases more than 5 degrees. So it is almost overhead. So tell them. So these things which are the wrong sciences is what we should be able to communicate to people, and we should understand that this is if you fight this particular thing, it is not going to lead you to anything. It is only going to be a discussion, and people will be talking. So fight something which you can actually win. Okay, that is what I feel. Yeah, you are right saying that there are many things. I would say even eclipses time. Okay, let me share 1 or 2 examples of eclipses. See, 1980 eclipse was a major fiasco as far as public is concerned in India. It was the total solar eclipse of 16 February 1980. And you may not remember, but those of us who observed this eclipse, we definitely remember. And government was not prepared, astronomical community was not prepared. And what happened was that announcement were made. And I remember in that day, I have not seen the eclipse Goody because I was somewhere else, but Goody movie was screened on the television, Doordarshan channel. That was only one channel, and people were sort of told not to go out. Okay, then there was a later on, after the eclipse is over, some people came out and said that it was wrong, etc. Okay, that happened, it was fine. But when 1995 eclipse came, in just about 15 years, so much of awareness was created. I don't know whether you went for the eclipse, but I do remember that all the trains from Mumbai, Bangalore, Pune, Hyderabad going to eclipse track, they were completely, seats were reserved in approximately 15 to 20 minutes of time after the booking opened. From the station, the booking opened, we couldn't get the ticket. So we actually traveled by road to, no, I think somehow we managed to get ticket. But from Jaipur to the track, we traveled by road. Many people from Pune, Mumbai, other places, they traveled by road to the eclipse track. Why this 15 years made so much of change? I think there's one person, I would very happily say that Narlikar and other people who popularized astronomy so much. And then at that time, I had joined IUCAA. So institutions like IUCAA, Indian Institute of Astrophysics, TIFR Mumbai, they popularized this so much that people realized that they should go for the eclipse. Now here is a small story about it. The acting director of Vigyan Prasad, in those days, he used to say, so he saw the 1980 eclipse. He was also young. We were college and or passed out students. Okay, so our age was just about 20-25 years. Okay, then 1995 eclipse, we were all grown up. Most of us were married and all that. So he said that when I saw the eclipse, I had 3 friends, 3 women, girls with them. 3 girls were there. They were all pregnant, and they have they have their own children. Okay, and 2 of them are doctor and 1 is engineer. Okay, so he used to say that, look, and then we say other way, that again this should not be made into myth, that if you watch the eclipse, your children will be scientists and engineers and doctors or something. So what care you must take during the eclipse, you should take. Other than that, you have, normally what care you should take when you are a pregnant person, you should take that and forget about it. Eclipse doesn't harm anyone. We normally do any eclipse time. I would eat something in front of television camera that look, eclipse is in progress. So we keep telling people that this is what happens. But having said that, I would also point to you that just across the door we have the planetarium, and many a times now it has become slightly less. But when I came about 10 years ago, if there is an eclipse, people would call us and say that there is an eclipse, what my daughter should do or my daughter-in-law should do because she is pregnant. So people would call up. Not just that, if we show Mars on the dome, they say, oh, you are showing Mars, to mere ko Mangal aayega kya? So if people, this is incredible people to that extent. So this has happened. But again, back to the point that yes, we have to keep educating people as much as, but it is also true that young generation is much more aware of these problems. And we also see that many a times, this is another question which we discussed yesterday, that many a times what happens is that we do it for our elders, whether you believe it or not. You have to get married, and your grandmother or grandfather says that, look, unless you do it this way, I will not be happy. And just to please him, you go ahead and do it. So then I also feel that, look, if the old man is made happy by doing something, whether I believe it or not, so it is happiness of old man is much better than what I believe, because what I believe, I will not do it for myself. So this time I am doing it for the elderly person who has lived 60 years, 70 years of life, 80 years of life.
Thank you. So very good insights into that, and especially the last part. Yeah, even if we can't spend a lot of time and effort trying to convince elderly people, I think what we must do is try not to indoctrinate the next generation into believing superstition and pseudoscience related things. And so that 95 eclipse, I think the solar eclipse, right? So I think it brings some memories for me as well. So I think I was in intermediate or first year of degree when I used to, make some apparatus to watch the eclipse on a wall, like, using cardboards and magnifying glass and, a mirror from outside. So, it goes through that and, project. So the exact eclipse is clearly seen as a reflection, on the wall. So, I mean, at that time, even Doordarshan and other channels that they used to conduct programs and educate people about what it is and how to safely view that, and how what are the precautions required, and at the same time, even now, like it is sad to see that a lot of people, even educated people, they're asking right questions to the wrong people. Especially you can see that in the TV, channel discussions, especially on these, celestial events like eclipses, which is the most common celestial event that, people, get to see, unlike, meteor showers and all, where, it's very less chance to actually enjoy that. So even now, like the mainstream media, like, I don't know why we need to try to bring a balance between science and the other side of it. But it's very sad to see that people who don't know anything in science, in the basic high school science, they try to scare people, saying that giving all kinds of instructions as to what to do, what not to do, what to eat, what not to eat, and things like. So what's your what's in your opinion? Do we need to, like, counter or try to educate people? Are we doing enough there, or should we bring laws to actually, like, I think some Karnataka and Maharashtra, I think some states have these anti-superstition laws. So are they enough, or like what else? What can we do to address people like that who are spreading? Take the example of astrology, say for example. So how do we try to counter those arguments, saying what is right and what is not, what is how do you explain the scientific method to the common people?
Yes, what you have asked this question is a very explosive question. Explosive in the sense that many times I gave a talk on why I do not believe in astrology. I just want to tell people that look, whatever you want to do, go ahead and do. But these are the arguments why I do not believe in astrological prediction. And what I normally say is this as follows. One of the things, the only problem with this is that there are a certain group of people who would come out and say, no, but we believe, or my grandfather believed, and so on and so forth. But the argument which I give, and which generally convince a reasonable number of people, about 15-20% people who are on the, who are on the wall. So I'm able to pull it on the other side of the wall. Some people are very staunch. They will not jump on, even though they believe that astrology is wrong, but they will not accept it. They will not come to this side. So if they have decided they don't want to come to this side, you can't do anything about that. However, those who are on the wall, so my normal argument, it goes like this, that what is the population in our city? Let us take, for example, as a matter of convenience, the 24 lakhs. Okay. So how many sun signs are there? So 12 sun signs. So each sun sign will have 24 divided by 2 lakh people. Okay. So now if astrological prediction in the newspaper, I'm talking in the context of newspaper. So if astrological prediction says that be careful, Leo, those who are born under Leo sign, okay, be careful, you will have accident. Okay. So if that is so, then hospital should be flooded with people born under the Leo sign. So have these astrologers gone and checked their predictions? Even if you take 1%, at least you should have 200 people going to the hospital with some kind of injury. And what about for whom it is predicted, for the sign which is not predicted? What about those people going there? They have no answer. Okay, so people, this argument, many a times people agree with me. Then other part of it is the same that okay, Scorpions will have, Scorpions who should expect visitors. I remember visitors have to come from some sunshine. So you say that Capricornians will go to Scorpion for the lunch or something like that. Why don't they say this? But then on a little bit more scientific argument, it is that if you see the internet, there is a nice site which gives you a scaled down solar system. So when at the planetarium, when Teja was asking, so we conduct a school student activity where we teach student astronomy. So what we do normally is in all these activities, we ask students to make a scale down model of the solar system. So nothing is said about astrology or anything. We just said, okay, let us make a model. So you make a model which is sun is made 6 inches in diameter. Okay. Then based on that, you make you draw diameters of planets and their distances from the sun. So all that is done. Now what happens under this scale? What happens is that if you make sun, which is 6 inches in diameter, okay, then the diameter of Mercury comes out to be 0.5 mm. Now we are all to say there is nothing astrology said here until they say it's all science. So what is 0.5 mm? Okay, this is my clutch pencil. So clutch pencil lead is 0.5, which is accurately 0.5. Okay, Venus comes out to be 0.7. So you have another clutch pencil lead which is 0.7. Earth is 1.4. So then we ask them to measure some object like mustard seed is actually 2.2 mm. What you get? So all this thing happens. After that, we measure the distance. So how much is the distance? If you keep Mercury from the sun, it's a 0.5 mm lead. Okay, you have to keep it at 6 meters. How much is a 6 meter? Okay, this table is 1.5 meter. So 4 tables you have to keep. So if sun is kept here, Mercury is there. And what is the size? 0.5. Where Jupiter will come? Jupiter will come 480 meters. Now then you ask this question, that do you think that Jupiter, which is just like a 15 mm ball, can influence human being, which is on the mustard seed, Okay, so what will be the size of mustard seed? And then all of us are sitting here, influence you differently, me differently, him differently, her differently. Do you think it is possible? Immediate answer comes out, no, it is not possible. So this is a very indirect way of telling the astrology doesn't work. So this is what we do. Then they have another question, which is about the sun and moon. You see that when the moon is there on top, they always say that human body is 75% water. So when the tide comes, it lifts the water up. Okay, tide comes and lifts the water up. So I said, okay, fine, that is good. So how much water it lifts? So I think the international standard is something like 30 meters is maximum it goes, but in Mumbai it is about 2 or 3 meters. But let us take the maximum 30 meters. Okay, let's take 30 meters. Then again you scale it down. Okay, so how much water it goes compared to diameter? Diameter of Earth is 12,700 kilometers. So compared to that, 30 meters is how small? So okay, 0.01% water goes up. So yes, it will go up in your body also 0.01%. So that will also happen when you do Shirshasana. Shirshasana is a good yoga exercise you do, isn't it? So water goes up. So what's great about it? So when these arguments are placed, generally people happily agree. Thank you, Arjun, for your smiles. So reaction. So this is what we do, and people do remember. I mean, I remember that many times people come out and say that, oh, you told us that time, and we remember, and so on. So these are the ways one could use to tell people. And then also, instead of telling you don't do it, I say I don't do it because of these reasons. They gel better with you. But when you order someone something that don't do it, then people automatically have a resistance to. I mean, no one likes to take orders, you see. And particularly if you have believed in something, then they said, who the hell you are to teach me what I should do? So mold it according to them.
Yeah, in fact, it's not the day-to-day job or activity of scientists or science popularizers to actually go and counter argument every single thing that there's con man or Swamijis or people who has a lot of influence on others do, like willingly, like with the bad intentions of increasing their business and other things. But the problem comes when I think only when this if they say that it's their belief, that is okay. But only when they say it is science and it has science, or then only we have to come out and talk openly. More and more scientists, especially not just that they are doing their job, but they also I feel that personally they also need to come out and whenever possible and appropriate should come out and talk about science. So with that, I'll ask Arjun to join the participation. Arjun Nidigallu. So welcome, and you can continue asking any questions you may be having for Arvind.
Yeah. Firstly, thank you, Arvind, for your time today. We're very fortunate to have you on board, and just trying to imagine the time at which you took on, astronomy as a hobby and turned that into a career. It's not something people were doing at that time. Not just astronomy, but also just following a hobby like you did. So I'm fascinated by your journey, and I had a lot of questions on that. But staying on topic now that we're talking about pseudoscience, and you said it really nicely, pseudoscientists run a lot faster than scientists. So in my own little way, I'm not related to science at all. I haven't studied science past high school. I just have an appreciation for it, I suppose. So I'm the guy who ankle taps these pseudoscientists as they're running around. So I set up a YouTube channel where I kind of explore how you can debunk their claims. And I think one of the interesting things that has happened in the last, I'd say 10 to 15 years in this space is they've become very clever about how to hijack certain scientific terms to make their points quite convincing. So anyone with half a knowledge, or someone with who's been brainwashed with a certain narrative about their culture or the predominance or superiority of it, I feel like they can easily be fooled. And so I'll give you an example, something I want you to react on from your point of view. So there's an irrigation minister, I believe it was Karnataka, I can't be sure, but there's an irrigation minister who recently did a puja ceremony for the monsoons to come sooner. So when he was criticized, his response was, well, if ISRO can do a puja to send an orbiter to Mars, then why can't I do a puja to bring in the rains? So I think this is an example of how pseudoscience can pollute the minds and kind of proliferate all public policy, all the conversations we have that matter will get polluted. So from that perspective, and keeping in mind that the role of your planetarium and what you're trying to do, how important is it in India right now, given the situation, that we all point these things out?
You talked about that, but why just that? See, India brought some aircrafts, fighter planes from France. Okay.
Yeah.
So coconut breaking ceremony was done.
Oh,
okay.
wow.
Yeah. But at the same time, the local people also did the Christianity thing. Okay. So they had this padri putting the water on it and all that stuff.
Right.
These politicians do this for their own purposes. Okay. They want to get the votes from people. And you are also correct that when the minister says that when ISRO does it, see, we have to understand that these people are not scientists. They are engineers, technocrats and all that. And when something, see this particular fear that whether something will work or not, if whether there is some kind of another force, that will not go so easily.
Yeah.
The other factor which I realized that over a period of time is like you, particularly Amol, I would say. Okay, I'll give my example that
sure.
When I travel, I used to travel by train. I mean, about 25 years ago or around that. So train, if you introduce yourselves and what you are doing. And then I'll say that I am working for astronomy. So they immediately take me there for an astrologer and start showing their hands to me. So I said, look, I do not believe in that. And what used to happen was, this has happened a number of times. What used to happen is that I'll start doing arguments about astrology, why it is wrong. And then some elderly person will say, oh, you are bacha. Once you grow up, you will understand. We have an experience. So here you can't beat them. So as I said in the beginning, that I feel very strongly that everything we should do, but we should concentrate on the school children. Because if you imbibe in them at this stage, they will carry it and they'll carry it. And you'd show them how the experiments have to be done. The third thing which I would add here is that we used to do this one exercise. After this, after the sun solar system model, we would tell the students to go and talk to about 10 people in your surroundings and ask how many of them they believe in astrology really. Okay. And I'll tell you, the encouraging thing is that most, of course, these students were from Pune, but it is not necessary that all families are scientifically inclined. Okay. So they would go. An interesting fact we have seen is that elderly people particularly, they do not agree. They do not say, we have seen life and we know it doesn't work. They will not openly, publicly admit it, but when they go to their grandchild, they will say that it does not work. So I think we'll have to again look into this problem very rationally, that which are our target area and where we should not waste our time. Like, say, why this Karnataka minister, even there was this, some minister said, why even Jail Singh, I think, or some senior minister supposed to have said that I do not believe in Darwin. My ancestor did not come from, I did not come from monkeys. Okay, we were like that. What can you do about these people? They are highly influential. So if you talk anything against it, you're only adding little fuel to the fire. So best is to ignore these people. They are going to do it, believe it or not, whatever they are doing it. Just give me a minute. My office phone is ringing. Just
Okay, no worries, sir.
No problem.
Yeah, that's a good question, Arjun. So it shows the irresponsible behavior of some top scientists in public positions, where that gives a wrong message to the society, and for gives fuel for the others to actually support pseudoscience. Continue, Arvindji.
so many times I feel it is best to ignore them, best not to talk about them, and just allow it to die. Because more we talk, more other people will be saying, and it will be in the circulation, WhatsApp and all that. And then maybe, as you said, like we can do make some WhatsApp stories about science, put something interesting which gets circulated, and also believe it. One thing all of us must have experienced, that parents of children in the age group of 8, 9, now they have become very keen to teach their children to learn science and other field. Okay, I mean they're quite inclined to sort of talk to schools and teach. Or okay, I would say that they want to have their children studying something. So at that is the time we should be able to mold the child, because if you mold the child will carry it for long. See, anyone who has crossed 16, 17, I have seen even 16, 17-year-old youth. Sometimes some people strongly believe, and not only just believe, they say that because my grandfather said this, and I'm not going to change. So what do you do with such people?
Yeah, I agree.
Hello.
Yeah, I think I'm with Arvind on this with regards to the focus on children. I think that's where we get our most effectiveness in terms of getting the results that we want to see in the world ahead. But at the same time, I feel like there needs to be a multifaceted approach to these problems. So you got to have the scientists like Arvind who focus on the science. At the same time, you need to have a number of individuals as well as organizations who focus on debunking pseudoscience. It's a team effort. We can't completely rely on scientists to do this. All we can do is look to them for the knowledge and the attitude, and we can try and use that to leverage the scientific positioning. So yeah, that's greatly put. That the focus on children is just so important. I completely agree with you on that.
Actually, you are absolutely correct. And we need to do a lot more. And one possible thing is that babas and all that. So you just collect things. See, whatever magic they show, go and do the same magic in the school and show how it is done with the scientific thing. So there is nothing great about it. It's not God-given. And children enjoy, teachers do enjoy. There's only one factor. Sometimes your head of the school is against it and Baba believer, then they will probably chase you out. But we have to keep doing this. Or maybe, yeah, it's a good idea. Make a short videos on WhatsApp, this short video, and send it. This gets immediately, go like a fire, circulate. Yeah. So we can actually, it's a good idea. We make these videos and say that, okay, like, the bhabooti comes out, how it comes out, you can do it at home. And say a scientific experiment, and let it carry in different languages. That might be one solution. That may be one solution. Yeah.
There is a YouTube channel called Science is Dope. And this is basically what Pranav on that channel does. He takes something that is unscientific and it shows why it is a myth. So yeah, people are doing this, but we definitely need more people to do it. So yeah.
But again, the thing is that going to YouTube and I have noticed that anything which is more than 6 to 7 minutes, people will take, okay, I will listen to it later on. But if it's a 3-4 minute capsule which says that this is it, and with a little bit of joke or fun in it, then people immediately pass it on. And going to YouTube, true, youngsters would go. But if you make a 3, 4, 5 minute capsule and send it on WhatsApp, people immediately watch that. So So if you have such thing, send it to me. I will also send it to my various groups, and then they keep copying it to each other.
Awesome.
It goes viral.
Let's fight it. Yes, let's fight misinformation in the same way.
Yeah.
It's
Awesome.
unfortunate to see the decreasing duration of the attention span that the new generation is giving for. But I mean, yeah, I agree with that approach. Like anything that is long and like a lecture, like people, they'll either at the most, save it in their watch list. Yeah, so in those lines, like similar lines, like we have been doing regular science hour programs in a leading Telugu web radio called Tori, where every Saturday 9:30 IST we do live show. Sometimes it can be a little educational or formal, but most of the other times, like we take questions from listeners directly. Like it's live on every Saturday, like some 100,000 people listen to that, and after that we use the same thing to archive in Indian Humanists YouTube channel. So we are getting a really good feedback from that, like most of them, but there will be some some people always who without knowing some things, like they leave some messages, but mostly a lot of people are interested, and actually they come with all these pseudoscientific claims and seek answers from us. So that's really interesting to know and to see the change. Yeah, so one other question is, previously, like late 80s and maybe mid 90s, the most pseudoscientific things that were propagated were like materialization. Say, for example, like one of the babas from the Andhra Pradesh, he used to take materials out of thin air and then bless his disciples with vibhuti or some gold chains or rudraksh, whatever. But nowadays, like they also are catching up with the scientific terms like dark energy and things like that, where they are saying science doesn't know everything, and there is still a lot more that scientists themselves say the same thing, right? Like what we know is less than what we need to know, but they're using that argument against the scientific community again, saying that your science has not grown up to that level. That is the reason why you can't get an explanation for a certain thing, but it will be unveiled like in future, something like that. So for example, say again, like there was an instance where NASA, the claim is that NASA declared the sound of sun as Om. uh, uh, so they are trying to catch up with science and scientific terms, and in a way that itself is a win for the scientific community. That's what I personally believe. So they're not saying it is a belief, they're saying it is science, because they also know that by saying something as science, it is more close to the fact and truth.
Actually, this Baba taking out this chain and all that, this reminds me of very old story, that in Bangalore, you remember the Satya Sai Baba?
Yep.
So the story is that PC Sarkar, who was one of the greatest magicians this country had produced, so PC Sarkar said, I want to meet you. And Sai Baba completely refused. And in those days, I mean, even emails, of course, it's a much before email era. So Sai Baba refused to meet him. Try whatever hard, he refused to meet him. So then PC Sarkar, what he did was that he said that from some Bhopal, he said that I am Maharaja or such place, and I want to have your darshan. So Sai Baba gave him audience. And this fellow got down from a posh car. So Sai Baba came all the way to the gate and to greet him. And then when he bowed, he put his hand and got some ashes. Okay. So he gave it to PC Sarkar. He took it in his hand, okay, and then he squeezed the thing and gave him gulab jamun to Sai Baba. Then Sai Baba realized that he is a different ball game. He turned 180-degree around and he went away. So that is the story. So we have, so what you said is right. We should, that's another problem, that in this community also, there are some people make use of these names, God particle. Actually, God particle was not God particle. Higgs had said it is a goddamn particle, right? So now what I've started doing is that many times when I send email, you have that email tagline. So it is not goddamn particle, it's not a God particle, but it is a goddamn particle. So a lot of people would read and then start asking you why it is so. So I think we have to try all sorts of small tricks and because even many a times if you ask scientific community, you find that scientist has some pictures of goddesses, and they will come to their office and put agarbatti. They keep it in their office. Then other party has a very high chance of telling that, look, they are doing it, and what's wrong with it? There is a scientist. I face this every now and then. Every now and then, different communities, they keep telling me that how various scientists believe and what are you trying to tell. So I feel I only, in my business, when I have to take out certain amount of time regularly to do anti-astrology drive. So I do it as best I can, and everyone should try doing that. And I think another thing is I think we should collectively fight. So small snippet, small 3-minute video if you guys are making, and if it is in English or Telugu, whatever it is, we can translate it. We can put a Marathi or Hindi translation, soundtrack, and send it. We should do that. You're absolutely correct. I agree there.
I completely agree with you, sir. Yeah. Amol, you have any questions?
No, just want to sort of add to that. I think we should make understanding science and having a scientific temper as part of the culture itself, rather than treating it as an academic subject. I mean, science is not just to get sort of into good grades and getting into good academic institutions. Yes, a lot of parents, when the kids are in that stage in which they're going to get into higher grades or trying to get into a certain academic institution, are very focused about science. And the kid does study hard and they do get into either engineering or medical or what have you. But it should not be with the narrow focus of just getting into a college or even getting a job. It should be to understand science at a fundamental level and sort of understand how it affects you as a society as well, because we are so much affected by science and as a result technology, and it is a disservice not just to the scientist but to yourself as well if you don't understand science at its core. Okay, so that having that scientific temper and having it as part of culture is very important. So as Arvind sir mentioned, one of the ways to do it is sort of having these small sort of media sort of clips, because we need to fight with that same sort of language, right? So just as WhatsApp can be used to spread misinformation, if you have something similar, I can sort of share something from my side where I had where I take a photo of, let's say, the stars or the nebulas. So that draws attention, right? And when you start explaining the science behind it, that gets people interested. And then on top of that, you say, and this is not a specialized domain. You can go out, okay, have planetarium software, and you can go out and see the same thing with your eyes under the stars. Have a telescope, and you can see the planets and see the rings of Saturn and what have you. So having people do it themselves, okay, rather than relying on some authority figure, I think is a very sort of foundation of science, and that is what I think we as science popularizers should encourage more and more. Just wanted to sort of add that.
See, I live in an area in the South Mumbai, and why I live in that area is because Nehru Center has purchased a flat, and that is how, otherwise in that area, by any stretch of imagination, I couldn't afford to have a flat like that. Now this is called the South Cuff Parade Association, Cuff Parade Residential Association. Okay, so they have a magazine, and the editor of the magazine asked me if I can contribute something, and I said, look, I can contribute home experiments, kitchen experiments, which you can do. So I contributed for a while. Absolutely no response to that. I even offered that if you do it correctly, I will take you to, I will give you free passes for the planetarium. No response. Other thing is that we are also, say, relatively very small community. See, it would vary from city to city, but in Mumbai, scientific community is so small. You have another community which is a business community. Okay, almost entire business fraternity would lead that, and then they definitely believe in God. So as Amol said, that you make some picture, you make a nice nebula and colorful picture, and they will use it and say that Shri Krishna is playing Holi there. Okay, so that's the kind of argument they will come out with. So it's not a simple thing. It's a very big fight. Another example I'll give you here, which was told to me by a teacher who is the commerce teacher, okay, in a commerce college. So she said that when she entered, why would you go and teach in this college? Because of various reasons, your husband is working in that city. You can't go far. You can't get or even if you get a bigger job, you may have to go somewhere else. So you are conditioned that you should take that job. So she said that when I go to the class, student would not even, they will not only be facing, they will not be facing me, and they would make a circle and sit on the desk and talk with the boys and girls hugging each other and chatting. And if I say that it is my class, that you pay attention, boys have audacity to tell her that, look, it is your job to teach, you stand there and teach, it is our job to study, we will decide how to study, don't meddle with us. So she said that in the initial days, I would get angry and I would walk away. And then they said that you are paid to do as if these boys are paying for that teacher's salary. You are paid to do the job, you do it. So she said, finally, I have come to a conclusion that I stand on the table, desk, I do my teaching and I go away. I don't care who is listening or not. Those who are listening, they would sit in the front and listen to me, but otherwise I will go away. What can you do to such people? If they have decided money is the power, I'm sorry. You see, hello. So see, what is said today is I accepted it today because today was my off. Yep. But unfortunately, my colleague, the manager of the planetarium, he had some emergency, so I had to take his place, and therefore, and it's a very busy day for us today. So no worries. Yeah, excuse me for that. Yeah. Okay. So that is where I was trying to tell you. Okay, yeah, it's not an easy fight. It's not an easy path. Sometimes children are conditioned by their parents, so make it attractive. And what best you can do, keep doing. But then again, the pseudoscience fight, like this fellow had, right? Tamil Nadu has a very powerful group of people who fight pseudoscience. And they go around various villages and demonstrating how it is done, how various babas play role and magic tricks they carry out, but actually it is not magic and science. Kerala Sahitya Parishad has. So
even Telugu states has something called Janavijnana Vedika. They do the similar things. So we don't want to hold you for a long time, considering your situation there. But one last question from our side, like this is from Jyotsna Palwai, who is also co-founder for Science for Society. So she has a question asking about the inclusiveness in the field of science. Is there a proportional involvement of women in higher rank positions? What are some challenges that you see inhibiting women, and how can this gap be filled? Because most educational institutions outside India are partnering with corporate sponsors to create awareness and opportunities for high school and college going schools. So she's referring to the special campaigns to raise awareness, workshops, internships, and scholarships, etc. So is this something discussed within the Indian scientific community? If yes, like what kind of programs do Nehru Planetarium in specific or any other scientific institutions are doing for girl students?
So she's basically talking about gender bias, right?
Yeah, so
Yeah,
the
kind
lack
of.
of proportionate representation of
Proportion.
girls or women in higher scientific
One thing
position.
is certain in India, if uh, in a government services, whether it is state or central government, the salary is equal. I have told that at some places women get less salary than men for the same position, but in India it is not so. Okay, the only problem what see this topic has been talked number of times at various forums. So, and I was not directly involved in it, but what I see is that women do get appropriate representation. We feel proud of them. For example, we keep talking about women scientists who took part in Mars mission. As far as astronomy is concerned, today the director of Indian Institute of Astrophysics is a woman, and then a very good. Both of them are my friends. So other one because I knew her from almost my beginning days, Anupama, GC Anupama. She became the president of Astronomical Society of India. Then present secretary is a young woman. So they are represented, and the community seem to understand. That is true, but it is also true that the representation is not as strong as that. And many times, what I heard is that if they are not given sufficient help or other sufficient recognition, women tend to leave their jobs. This is what I have heard. I have not involved myself. I mean, I don't have first-hand knowledge, but whatever I have heard at various forums, it appears that at a certain stage, then she takes a back seat and said that, okay, I will look after the home and do the and get out of the race for a higher position. But I think I'm certainly very proud that Dr. Professor Annapurni and Professor Anupama, whom I know for many years, are at the topmost positions in their organization. So it's a very great. Why even in planetarium also we had Dr. Ratnashri in Delhi, who was the director, who did a fantastic job. In Bangalore, there was Dr. Shailaja, and yeah, so there are names like that. So if they come, they're I mean, yeah, but I can't say more than this. I can't say that I have direct personal knowledge about employment or giving up. But as far as opportunities are concerned in India, I think they're very equal opportunities.
Yeah, that's good to hear, sir. So Arjun, you can wrap it up with any closing questions you have.
Yeah, just one last question. If there's a young, let's say a young girl on the back of that question who's watching this and, you know, being inspired by your work and this particular talk that we've had, what advice would you give her on her path to becoming an astronomer, much like yourself?
I will go slightly differently. See, we started this lab for school children. Okay, and the reason for the lab is that they have laboratory experiments which are prescribed in their textbooks. But normally, what happens is the teacher comes on the class with the apparatus, demonstrates, and the apparatus goes back to the wherever it is to go. So we develop this lab. We have a lab where students come and do the experiment themselves. Okay. So when we started this lab, I made it sure. I told when we drew the proposal. So I told our senior authorities that, look, I will only employ women. Okay. And that too, I will not employ someone who is retired or just fresh from college. Okay. Who has possibly completed her BSc or MSc, looking for better opportunity or has a time, and she can come and work. And we have, as it stands today, there were 5 of them. We started about 5 years ago. Okay, but then 2 years have gone into pandemic. So these young ladies, 3 of them are pursuing their PhDs in different parts of the world. One is in Poland, another one is in Japan, and another third one is in USA. They're doing their PhD. One is almost completing PhD. Then 2 students, 2 girls who work at the planetarium, they have gone to ISER Pune, where they are teaching science to others. So it makes me feel proud of it. And Yeah, so the effort from our side has to be there to encourage them. And then of course, another reason also that because it was lab and then we have 10, 9, 10 standard girls, adolescent girls are coming. So they would feel comfortable if there is a woman teacher. So these two reasons. But I'm so happy that these girls are doing so very well in their life. So we try doing that.
It's terrific. That's really inspirational. Thank you so much for that. Thank you, Prasada Gari, for this opportunity. Amol, if you have anything else to say, or Prasada Gari, please go ahead. Thank you again.
Oh, no, just want to express my gratitude to be part of this talk. And again, it's been nice to meet Arvind after so many years.
Yeah, many years. Yes. Thank you.
Yep. Thank you, Arvindji. It is a pleasure to have you here in this episode of Let's Talk Science. And the primary motivation of not just spreading awareness and understanding of science and improving the culture of science, but also in fighting superstition and pseudoscience and misinformation and disinformation. So I hope these efforts and continuing efforts in future will help bring more people close to science and truth. Just to continue that last part, like the women in science. So our next guests for the next couple of episodes are going to be Prajwal Shastri. She is a professor from Indian Institute of Astrophysics, and also Stella Kafka, astrophysicist, CEO, American Meteorological Society. So I hope they are more as interesting as these discussions are. And I'll close today's discussion with that. And thank you very much again for giving your valuable time on a weekend. Like you are still working. It's a work day for you as well again. And also Mr. Arjun and Amol and Sharat Teja Garu and also other people who are behind these efforts like Josna Garu, BG Garu, and especially our young astronomer, amateur astronomer, Mr. Teja Begari as well. So that's for today's episode of Let's Talk Science. So we'll meet in another episode with another guest discussing about talking about science. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you.
Keep me posted about it. I will also join whenever I can. Today it is just that my colleague is not there for some reason. Otherwise, I would have been a much easier position at home. I would have talked to it. Anyway, thank you so much for inviting me.
No worries. And we'll definitely meet again in sometime in future. And we will be happy to help you share your experiences and opinions.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Have a great time. Great day. Bye.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.